Hello, I'm Dan from Ace3 Rentals and Sales, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 2022 Coachmen Pursuit 27 XPS model. I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know about the outside and then the inside, so you'll be all set and prepared when you decide to rent from us. We're going to start off on the driver's side over here. We just have a lot of compartments, storage, other kinds of stuff on this side. So, just as I said, our first storage compartment here is just going to be some storage. Next up here we have our propane tank. This is 20 gallons or about 80 pounds. It'll last about a week or so before you'll have to refill it. If you do have to refill it, truck stations and campsites will do it for you. You have a gauge here that will tell you how full or empty it is, and there's also one inside. So pretty much all you have to do is come out here. You can leave it open. It's going to run your refrigerator, also your stove, your oven, your water heater, all the kind of stuff that's going to rely on heat. You can leave it on since your fridge runs on it when you're not plugged in and you don't want your food to go bad. Over here we have an outside shower. So let's say you're at the beach, you wanted to wash off the sand before you head inside. This would be how you would do it. Next to that we have our hot water heater. I'll talk more about this inside, but just when you turn it on inside, expect there to be a flame and for this to be hot. Speaking of which, next to that we have our furnace exhaust, so expect this to be hot as well. Down here we have our generator. The generator is basically a substitute for when you're not plugged in at a campsite. This is going to run on the engine gas, so as long as you're at least about a quarter tank full of gas, you can expect this to work. The generator is going to run your AC, your microwave, your TVs, and your electrical outlets inside. However, you should not run the AC and the microwave at the same time, otherwise sometimes it might cause the generator to trip. So these are the breakers here, one or both of these might flip back. So all you want to do is flip these towards you in the event that you accidentally run the AC and the microwave at the same time. Otherwise, pretty much everything about the generator can be handled inside the RV. Around the back here we have a lot of inlets, so we'll go down the list from the top. We have our fresh water and we have our city water down here. You're going to be using the same hose for both of these, and we'll give you this hose. The freshwater tank fill will be to fill up the actual water tank inside the RV. So when you're driving, you want to use the sink or the shower or the toilet, you're going to be taking it off of the tank, and this will be how you fill that up. That's opposed to the city water over here. When you're at a campsite, you want to take the campsite's water instead of your own. So when you hook it up into here, you'll be bypassing the freshwater tank inside, and these will go directly into the pipes. So you'll be taking the campsite's water instead of your own when you plug it into here. Over here is your sewer tank flush. This is just for us when you get back. It helps us clean out the tanks for the next customer. And below that here you have your TV cable inlet. If you have cable hookup wherever you're going, you can take the TV cable that we'll give you. You can hook it up to here and you can get all the channels through cable. If not, there's also an antenna inside, so you can just find the channels through the air instead. In the back here we have our dumping station. So this will be how you empty out your gray and black waste tanks. Over here we have color-coded valves, so the gray one is going to be for your gray tank, and the black valve is going to be for your black tank. The gray tank is going to be for your sinks and your shower, and the black is going to be for your toilet. So what I've done already is I've just taken the sewer hose that we'll give you, and I just connect it to the dumping outlet right here. From there, we recommend you open up the black tank first, and then the gray tank to kind of flush it out. So when it's pulled out, it's open, and when it's pushed in, it's closed. There will be gauges inside the RV that will tell you how full or empty the tanks are. So once they are done, you can just push them back in to close it, and you can just unhook it and you're all done. And all the way in the back here, we have one big storage area that goes across the whole back here. So in these bags here are all the hoses and pipes that we'll give you. In this one here, as you just saw, this is the sewer hose. Of course, we like to keep it in a separate bag here. In the other bag, we have a few things. This white hose here is going to be the freshwater and city water hose they're going to hook up to those inlets I just showed you. This black wire here is your TV cable, and we'll also give you a 30 amp to 15 amp adapter for your power cord. Speaking of which, the power cord is already plugged in on one side to the RV, so you just have to take this out, plug this into your campsite. Around the back here, there isn't much to note apart from you have your gas inlet. This will take regular 87 gas, no diesel, no premium, and the tank itself is about 80 gallons. And this is the other door to that big storage area in the back. Onto the passenger side here, we have the third and final door to that big storage area. And also over here we have the switch for the back two jacks. So we can raise and lower this. This will run on the house battery. Down here we have a propane outlet that will connect to that big propane tank on the driver's side. So if you have like an external grill at your campsite, you can just hook it up in here and take it off the tank on the RV. Near the door here we have some power outlets. You just have to make sure that you're either plugged into shore power or the generator is running for these to work. And you also have a TV cable inlet on this side in case the other side didn't reach. And finally we have one last storage area. And inside here we have the ladder for the bunk bed and also a manual crank. Right next to the door we have the dimensions of the RV. So we like to say 12.5 feet, although it is a tiny bit shorter than that. It's just a general way of knowing where you should and shouldn't go. That would be parking garages and drive-thrus you should watch out for. The same goes for the height. It is exactly 10.5 feet, but you should still be cautious of stuff like that. And this RV is about 29 feet long. As I open the door here, you'll see the automatic entry step comes out. And we also have a screen door here that detaches, just like that. There are a few important things in the entrance here. We have our fire extinguisher here for safety, and to my right here we have a few switches. This switch here is going to be for that automatic entry step, so you can just leave this on, so when the door opens it will come out automatically. We also have the entry light here, which is just the light right above my head. And we also have the front light right here, aka the porch light right outside. Over here we have the switch for the house battery, which is going to be for very minor electrical things like the lights or the awning. The battery is actually right beneath me and under these steps right here. You can leave it on unless you're going to be parked and you have no electricity or any source of power for a few days. But you just leave it on. It'll be charged when you're plugged into your campsite or when the engine is running. Over here we have the switch for the awning, which is going to run on the house battery. If it's not coming out or in, just make sure that the parking brake is on and the keys are out of the ignition. It should come out about 8 feet total, and it's really only for shade, so if it gets windy or rainy or snowy, you should bring it back in. Next to the fridge here, we have probably the most important part of the inside of the RV, the control panel. I'll start off with this little switch up here, which is the tank heaters. These will heat up the waste tanks in the winter, so if you're in a place where it's below freezing, you can just leave these on. This little rectangle here will tell you the levels of all the tanks. So LPG is your propane. So if I hold this down, you can see that it goes from empty, 1/3, 2/3 to full. So since all 4 lights are lit up, that means it is full right now. The battery, you can see it's about 1/3 charged. Fresh water is empty. And then you have 1 black tank and 1 gray tank. You won't have to worry about this one here. This switch here will turn on the TV antenna or the radio. So if you want to listen to music in the front or have the TV working in the back, you just want to have this switched on. You won't have to worry about this switch here. Over here is your switch for the water pump. So if you are taking water off of the tank, you just want to have this on if you just want the water to come out of the faucet. Down here is the generator. So this number will tell you the total number of hours it's been running since it was manufactured. So you can see it's been on for a total of about 5.5 hours. If you want to turn on the generator, you just want to hold down stop first for a few seconds to prime it. And once you do that, you can hold down start. And there you go. Once it's been on for about 30 seconds, when the microwave beeps here, you'll know that everything's working. Here we have our thermostat for the AC and heating. Once I press mode here, this will turn on. You can see it has fan on here. That just means the fan is going to turn on. But if you click it a second time, you'll see that the cool with a snowflake turns on. That'll be the AC. So once you turn this down a decent amount, the AC will turn on and you'll hear all of that. If I press it again, you'll see the heat pump. You don't have to worry about that. But if you click it another time, you'll see you have the furnace on. This is going to run partly on the electricity and partly on the propane. You just want to press it again until you get back to off. Next, I'll show you how to turn on the TV and find channels. So just give it a few seconds to turn on. But once you do that, you're just going to press input right here. And you're going to make sure that the source is on TV. Once that is so, you're just going to press the menu right here. You're going to go over to channel. And then if you are using the antenna, you're going to switch it to air. But if you're plugged in at a campsite, you can switch it over to cable like that. I'm going to go back to air. I can press auto scan right here. and it'll take about 5 minutes to find channels. In the back here we have our sort of master bedroom. We have a lot of storage up and around. We have a skylight right above here, and then we have windows on either side. This is the size of the bathroom here. We have our toilet, we have our sink over here, and we also have a shower right in front of me. We have some storage in here as well. You just want to make sure that the water pump is on if you want any of these things to work. And you'll also need special toilet paper for RVs. The packaging will say something like RV Marine toilet paper. You can get that from Walmart, or campgrounds will also sell it. Here we have our kitchen. So we just have a standard house microwave. Again, just make sure not to run the AC and the microwave at the same time. We have our stove down here, which is going to run on propane. So all you want to do is just for each of these burners, you can just set it to high, and then you can use the igniter just to spark it like that. We have this knob, especially for the oven down here. You'll need a long lighter, and you'll just have to light up this long metal rod right here. Once you're done with the stove, just wait a few minutes before you put the top back on, in case the propane might get trapped in there. You don't want that. And we just have a standard sink here as well. On the opposite side here, we have our refrigerator. This is going to run on the propane when you're not plugged in. But once you do plug in, it is going to automatically switch over to electricity. So no matter what, your fridge is going to stay on the whole time, and your food will be kept cold. Down here we have a carbon monoxide detector. We also have a smoke detector up on the ceiling. And right next to that we have a fuse box. We'll give you extra fuses in the front as well. In the middle of the cabin here we have our couch with 2 seat belts here. There's also some storage underneath here as well. And on the other side we have our dinette, also with 2 seat belts, and this also turns into a bed, and I'll show you that in just a second. First, I've just taken the cushions out and just put them over here. Next, you have the lever right underneath the table here. It's to the right here. So you just want to flip it to the left here to loosen it. And then you can finally just push it down like this. And finally, you can just take those cushions, put them across here, and here's your bed. To open the windows, all you want to do is just flip this latch down, and you can just pull it open and close. And the blinds are just pulled down and push up. We also have an overhead bunk right here. So if you see these small black latches, you just want to flip it like this. Same on the other side. Bring it down and out. In the front, the keys you'll have to worry about are this one here, which is for the ignition. We have 2 keys for the cabin door. We have this circle key, and we also have this rectangle key right here. They have the same logo on it. And these small silver keys will be for the outside compartments, just like this one. So if I just turn on the engine, this display will turn on. On the display here we have our radio. We also have Bluetooth, and we also have a rear view camera that you can keep on when you're driving. This will also turn on when you put the RV in reverse. And by my left foot here, we have our parking brake. You just want to push it down with your foot. And to release it, there's a handle right here. And that'll do it for our 2022 Coachmen Pursuit 27 XPS. I'm Dan from Ace Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.